Let's talk about a tough pill to swallow. Your greatest strengths as an older man, your experience, your stability, your natural instinct to protect and provide, might just be the very things killing your chances with younger women. You believe you're showing up as the perfect partner, mature, wise, and capable. You've built a life, you have resources, and you genuinely want to share them. Honestly, the logic is sound. Research even shows that a lot of younger women are drawn to the security and maturity older men bring to the table. It should be your natural advantage. So why does it keep backfiring? Why do your best intentions end with her pulling away, losing interest, or worse, making you feel like you're constantly fighting a losing battle for her attention? The answer is a subtle but fatal dynamic most men never see coming: the father figure trap. It's this deep psychological pitfall where your attempts to be a great provider get twisted into looking like a controlling, patronizing parent. And let's be honest, she didn't sign up to date her dad. The moment you start acting like him, the attraction just dies. It doesn't matter how successful or experienced you are. If she feels like a child in your presence, the romance is over. This isn't about making huge, obvious mistakes. It's about the small, almost invisible habits you've been taught are signs of mature masculinity. But in an age gap relationship, they become attraction killers. They create a power imbalance that feels less like a partnership and more like a guardianship. In this video, we're going to break down the 7 subtle habits that can turn you from a desirable masculine partner into a controlling father figure in her eyes. We won't just point out what's going wrong. We're going to give you the exact shifts in your thinking and behavior to turn this entire dynamic around. So if you're ready to stop being seen as a mentor and start being seen as the man she truly desires, you're going to want to pay close attention. Let's get right into it. The reason your hard-earned experience isn't landing the way you think it should is because you're leading with it. You're treating the relationship like a problem to solve, a project to manage, or even a person to mold. That right there is the fastest way to kill desire. Today we're going to dismantle that instinct, starting with the most common mistake of all. The first and most common habit is slipping into the role of her unsolicited life coach. It almost always comes from a good place. You've lived more, you've made mistakes, and you genuinely want to help her avoid the same ones. So when she comes to you with a problem, trouble at work, drama with a friend, a financial worry, your instinct is to fix it. You immediately jump into solution mode, laying out a 3-step plan, telling her exactly who to call and what to say. You think you're being helpful, showing off your wisdom. What you're actually being is patronizing. Every time you jump in with unsolicited advice, you're sending a powerful subconscious message. I don't think you're capable of handling this yourself. You're positioning yourself as the wise teacher and her as the clueless student. That's a parent-child dynamic, not a partnership between equals. She doesn't want another mentor. She wants a partner. She wants to feel like you see her as a competent, smart adult who can run her own life, even if she's still figuring things out. When you constantly swoop in to save the day, you strip her of her own agency. The attraction that was built on her seeing you as a strong, masculine man curdles into resentment as she starts to see you as someone who thinks she's weak. The fix isn't to stop caring. It's to shift from being a fixer to being a supporter. The next time she brings you a problem, bite your tongue. Don't offer a single piece of advice unless she directly asks for it. Instead, learn to ask powerful, supportive questions. Try one of these. Wow, that sounds really frustrating. How are you thinking about handling it? This shows you trust her judgment. What would be most helpful for you right now? Do you just need to vent, or are you looking for ideas? This puts her in control. I've dealt with something similar before if you want to hear it. But honestly, I have total faith you'll figure this out. This offers your wisdom as an option, not a command. When you go from providing answers to providing a safe space for her to find her own, the whole dynamic changes. You're no longer her condescending coach. You're her trusted confidant. You're the man who believes in her. And that belief is infinitely more attractive than any advice you could ever give. The second habit that shoves you right into the father figure zone is using your financial stability as your main tool for connection. Look, as an older guy, you likely have more money, and it's natural to want to be generous. You want to provide, make her life easier, and treat her to nice things. This is a powerful part of masculine energy, But there is a razor-thin line between being a generous partner and being a financial controller, and way too many men cross it without a clue. The trap is set the moment your money stops being a tool to create shared experiences and starts becoming a tool to solve her problems or create dependency. She mentions she's stressed about a bill, you offer to pay it. Her car is acting up, you offer to buy her a new one. While these gestures feel kind, they can quickly make the relationship feel transactional. It creates a dynamic where you are the benefactor and she is the beneficiary. That's not a partnership of equals. It subtly whispers that her value is tied to her need, and your value is tied to your wallet. This gets really toxic when you start using your financial help, even subtly, as leverage. A slight tone of disappointment when she just wants a quiet night in after you booked an expensive restaurant. A casual mention of how much you've helped her out during a small disagreement. She feels that. She feels the weight of being indebted to you, and that weight suffocates romance. She starts to feel less like a cherished partner and more like an employee. She wants to be chosen for who she is, not for what she needs. The solution is to rethink your generosity. Your financial strength should be the foundation you build experiences on together, not a fund to manage her life. Instead of instantly offering to pay her bill, try saying, "That sounds incredibly stressful. Let's do something fun and relaxing this weekend to get your mind off it." My treat. You're still using your resources, but the focus is on her emotional state and creating a shared memory, not just fixing a money problem. And encourage and celebrate her contributions, no matter how small they seem next to yours. If she wants to buy you a coffee, let her. If she makes you dinner, treat it like the valuable contribution it is. This builds a sense of teamwork. The goal is to make your financial strength feel like a shared resource for your life together. A true partner wants to build with you, not just be provided for. When she feels like a teammate, not a dependent, her respect and attraction for you will go through the roof. This third habit is one of the trickiest because it disguises itself as deep, profound care. It's the tendency to be so protective that you become possessive and controlling. You worry about her. You want her to be safe. You have more life experience, so you see dangers she might not. So you start questioning her choices, all under the umbrella of concern. Are you sure you should go out with that friend? She seems a bit wild. Text me the moment you get there and then again when you leave. I really don't like you going to that part of town by yourself at night. Each of these statements by itself seems reasonable, but when it becomes a pattern, it stops feeling like protection and starts feeling like a cage. Once again, you're stepping into the role of a worried father policing his teenage daughter's social life. You're communicating a deep lack of trust in her judgment and her ability to handle herself in the world. This behavior often comes from your own insecurity. You might be worried about other men, especially younger guys, or you might fear her lifestyle is just too different from yours. So you try to manage her world to calm your own anxiety. But in doing that, you actively smother her independence, which was probably one of the things that attracted you to her in the first place. A vibrant, independent woman doesn't want to be managed. She wants a partner who trusts her, not a warden who tracks her. The solution requires a huge shift from control to trust. You have to learn to manage your own anxieties instead of making them her rules. First, learn to communicate with I statements without making demands. Instead of, "I don't want you going out tonight," try something more vulnerable and honest. "I know you're going to have a great time with your friends. I sometimes get in my head and worry, so would you mind just shooting me a quick text when you get home so I know you're okay?" The first is a command. The second is a request that respects her freedom while expressing your feelings. It invites her to care for you, instead of demanding that you control her. Second, actively celebrate her independence. Encourage her nights out with friends. Ask her how it was with genuine interest, not suspicion. When you show her you aren't threatened by her having a life outside of you, you become her safe harbor, the man she wants to come home to. She doesn't need a protector in the paternal sense. She needs a partner who is her biggest champion. Be that man, and she won't see you as a controlling father. She'll see you as the confident, secure man she can build a life with. This next habit is a subtle but incredibly destructive form of condescension. It's using your age and experience as a weapon to shut down her feelings or opinions. It's that constant, subtle one-upmanship that older guys can fall into without even knowing it. When she's stressed about work, you say, "Oh, just wait till you have to manage a whole department. That's real stress." When she's heartbroken over a friendship ending, you say, "When you get to my age, you'll realize friends just come and go." Or the all-time classic, "You'll understand when you're older." Every time you do this, you're essentially patting her on the head and dismissing her reality. You think you're sharing wisdom, but what she hears is, "Your feelings aren't valid. Your problems aren't real." You're creating a hierarchy where you sit at the top looking down. This is the definition of the father knows best dynamic, and it's a guaranteed way to make her feel small, unheard, and totally disconnected from you. Your life experience should be a bridge, not a wall. Her experiences are real and valid to her right now. And for the relationship to work, they need to be real and valid to you too. The solution is to practice genuine curiosity and empathy. You have to consciously validate her feelings before you even think about sharing your own take. Say something like, "Wow, that sounds incredibly difficult," or "I can totally see why you're so upset about that." This immediately creates a sense of safety and connection. Then, instead of telling her what she'll eventually learn, ask her what she's learning now. Ask with real curiosity, "What's the toughest part of that for you?" If you do share a personal story, frame it as a point of connection, not a lecture. Try. "That actually reminds me of a time I felt completely overwhelmed early in my career." When you stop using your experience to prove you know more and start using it to show you understand more, you'll close the gap between you instead of making it wider. As we get older, we get set in our ways. We know what we like, we know what we don't, and we've spent decades building a life that's comfortable. But when that comfort turns into rigid inflexibility, it becomes a huge turnoff, especially for a younger partner. This is the fifth habit, building an inflexible fortress of habit and expecting her to just live inside its walls. It's refusing to try the new restaurant she's excited about because you'd rather go to your usual spot. It's dismissing her favorite music as just noise without really giving it a shot. It's being unwilling to travel to places that aren't already on your pre-approved list. It's that subtle expectation that she, as the younger, more adaptable one, should do all the adjusting to fit neatly into the life you've already built. This creates a dynamic where the relationship only exists on your terms, inside your comfort zone. It sends a clear message. My world is more important than yours. My comfort is more important than our growth together. That isn't a partnership. It's a dictatorship of routine. It can make her feel like a guest in your life, not an equal. A real relationship should be a fusion of two worlds, not one world swallowing the other. Your refusal to be flexible can feel like arrogance or, even worse, confirm one of her biggest fears about dating an older man, that you're just old and set in your ways. The solution is to consciously practice being more adaptable. Embrace a spirit of curiosity. Seeing the world through her eyes is a gift, not a chore. Make it a point to say yes more. When she suggests something new, even if it's outside your routine, make your default answer, "Yeah, let's try it." You don't have to love it. Your willingness to experience it with her is what truly matters. Show genuine interest in her world. Listen to her favorite album with her and ask what she loves about it. Go to a party with her friends and make a real effort to connect with them. Being a mature, stable man doesn't mean being rigid. True strength is having a strong foundation, but being flexible enough to build new things on top of it. When you tear down the walls of your fortress and invite her to co-create a new world with you, you're not just being a better partner. You're showing a youthful, vibrant spirit that has nothing to do with age and everything to do with attitude. There's this myth that the ideal man is an unshakable rock, stoic, logical, and emotionally contained. Older men often feel a ton of pressure to be this guy, thinking it projects strength. This leads to the sixth habit, hiding behind the wise stoic facade and creating massive emotional distance. You think you're being the strong, silent type. She just experiences you as silent and unavailable. This is the guy who never admits he's scared. The guy who never says, "I was wrong." The guy who responds to her tears with logic instead of a hug. When she's anxious, you tell her all the reasons she shouldn't be. You're so busy being the rock that you forget intimacy is built in the soft places, in the moments of shared vulnerability. For a woman, being in a relationship with an emotionally walled-off man is incredibly lonely. Your emotional unavailability forces her to do all the emotional heavy lifting. Not only is that exhausting, but it again copies that paternal dynamic where you're the detached authority figure and she's the emotional, irrational child. She doesn't feel safe with your stoicism. She feels isolated by it. The solution isn't to become an emotional mess. It's to practice emotional courage. True strength isn't the absence of emotion. It's the willingness to be vulnerable and connect right through it. Start by sharing how you feel, even when it's uncomfortable. You can say things like, "I had a really stressful day at work and I'm feeling pretty drained." Or, "To be honest, that situation makes me a little nervous too." Sharing your vulnerability gives her permission to share hers and turns you from an intimidating authority figure into a relatable human. When she's emotional, your job isn't to fix it or explain it away. Your job is to just be with her in it. Hold her. Say, "I'm right here with you," or "It's okay to feel that way." Empathy is the solvent that dissolves emotional walls. Finally, learn to apologize. Nothing dismantles that father figure hierarchy faster than a man who can humbly say, "You were right, I was wrong. I'm sorry." Your vulnerability won't make you look weak. It'll make you look courageous. And that courage is what will make her feel truly connected to you. The final habit is one many older men fall into simply because they're at a different stage in life. You're more established, you know where you want to live, and you're thinking about the long term with more urgency. This leads to the habit of being the future mapping overlord, planning out your shared future without her equal say. You start making big statements about what we will do. We'll move to the countryside eventually. You can quit your job once we get married. Our kids are going to this school. You have this clear blueprint in your mind, and you see her as the final, beautiful piece you just need to slot into your pre-built life. You think you're showing her a secure and stable future, and that is attractive. But what you're actually doing is erasing her future and replacing it with your own. This is maybe the ultimate expression of the controlling father figure dynamic. You are deciding the entire course of her life, asterisk for asterisk her. A young, ambitious woman doesn't want to be a supporting character in your life story. She wants to be the co-author of a brand new one. When you hand her a finished script, you deny her the chance to write her own lines. The solution is to turn your vision of the future from a solo project into a collaborative masterpiece. You have to consciously and consistently invite her to be an equal architect of the life you're building. Shift your language from making statements to asking questions. Instead of, "We will move to the coast," ask, "What are some of your dreams for where we could live one day? What kind of lifestyle gets you excited?" Get genuinely curious about asterisk her asterisk ambitions. Ask questions like, "What's your biggest career goal for the next 5 years?" And "How can I support you in making that happen?" When you talk about a future together, frame it as a blank canvas. Use phrases like, "I'm so excited to figure out what our future looks like together," or "What are the most important things asterisk we asterisk need to build for asterisk us asterisk to be happy?" Your life experience and stability aren't a rigid frame to force her into. They're the resources you bring to the table to help build whatever future you asterisk both asterisk design. When you approach the future as a team, you're not just avoiding the father figure trap. You're creating the foundation for a true, lasting partnership built on mutual respect and shared dreams. Now, I want to hear from you, and I want you to be honest. Which of these 7 habits have you seen in other guys? Or maybe even recognized in yourself? Acknowledging it is the first step. Drop a comment below. Let's have a real open conversation about this. The more we talk about this honestly, the more men we can help build healthier, more attractive relationships. And if you're serious about shifting from being just a provider to being a true partner, and becoming the kind of man younger women genuinely respect and desire, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We go deep on these topics every single week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. At the end of the day, the core lesson is this: the qualities that make you an attractive older man, your stability, your wisdom, your resources, become liabilities the second you use them to create control instead of connection. The whole father figure dynamic is rooted in a power imbalance, where you are the knower, the doer, and the decider, and she is just the recipient. To break free, you have to make a fundamental shift in your identity. You are not her savior. You are not her mentor. You are not her father. You are her partner. Your role isn't to shape her into the woman you want her to be, but to create a space where she can become more of who she already is. This isn't about pretending to be younger, or ditching the powerful masculine traits you've spent a lifetime building. It's about learning to use them with respect, trust, and a spirit of collaboration. Stop fixing her problems and start listening. Stop using money to create dependency and start using it to create memories. Stop trying to protect her from the world and start trusting her to handle it. Stop using your experience to lecture and start using it to empathize. Stop being so rigid and start being curious. Stop being stoic and start being vulnerable. And stop dictating the future and start dreaming about it together. The goal isn't to act young. It's to be a timeless, high-value man who connects through partnership, not paternalism. And that is the kind of man that no woman of any age can resist.